G'day folks, so I had a suggestion yesterday from one of our lovely viewers to come back and do some of my own stories from when I worked at Games Workshop. I know I've got a lot more of these and I stopped doing them because, you know, a lot of you guys have stories too, and to be honest with you, I enjoy reading them, so I guess I can let the hobby nightmares pile up for a little bit and give you one of my own stories about a little lad called Jesse and his mother who came into the store one time. Now, if you like what I do, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all that fun stuff because it helps me out in the algorithm, make sure there's more eyes on the videos, and we can start growing as a channel. And if you want to talk to us, the Discord is in the description down below. It's free, we don't charge for it. Please come along, say hello, and make sure that you have, you know, you get what you need on the hobby and stuff. Because, you know, there's people here who can help you, whether it be in life, mental health, whatever. Just come on and say hello. Right. There's going to be a shorter video than usual, because obviously there's only one hobby story, and it's mine, so, you know, I'll be going off memory. I have contacted the person, the subject of this video, to make sure that, you know, this is okay for me to share, and I can have a little talk about it and stuff, and share a positive hobby story, because it is a positive story at the end of the day, rather than being a cringe one. It is also showing my absolute ineptitude for reading signals, which is something that I've been accused of in the past. So, yeah, let's get on to it. So, Jessie's mum. That's what I've titled my recollection. So, at this time, I've been running my own GW store for about 2 months, okay? And this kid called Jessie keeps coming in. In my store on a Thursday night, we would run, you know, our normal hobby night where everybody would come in and keep the store open until about 10 o'clock. And they'd play all their games, get all their hobby out the way, and it was generally a night for. We used to call it Veterans Night in the Liverpool GW, and I kind of called it that, but I also wanted new people to be there too, and Jessie was one of those. These were really cool, magical nights where everybody was in there and having a good time, and in the time when the store was going well, i.e. when I wasn't being dogpiled from, you know, head office. These were my favourite time of the week. I couldn't wait for Thursday night and people to come in, and I can talk to regulars and you know, get their thoughts on how the store's going and what the hell we're going to be doing moving forwards, things like that. I ran it kind of like I run the YouTube channel, to be honest with you, but you know, it is what it is. So every single Thursday night we would have a 5-man free-for-all deathmatch style game of around 750 points, and when Jesse came in once, this was like several weeks before the final event that we're going to talk about, he came in with his dad, and his dad was not very enthused in the hobby at all. Wasn't bothered, didn't give a monkeys. He was there to drop his kid off and go and play five-side football. You know, him and his parents weren't together anymore, you know, but they obviously shared custody, things like that. And yeah, so he couldn't wait to get rid of him, unfortunately, because I always thought this is a really sweet kid. He's really, really cool. Savage, like, but he would always give it out, like, if somebody had to go at him, he would then turn it around on them, sort of a thing. He would never go for anybody. And we actually had a kid called Alf, who I'll get into later. And I think I've changed his name, but I think I've mentioned him before, where, you know, he came into the store and he was one of the kids who didn't really. He had some mental issues going on, and so he couldn't really speak. And I think I've told this before, where he would eventually, this guy ended up speaking, and you know, made his dad really emotional because he'd never done that before. You know, he was actually having a really good time with other people and just come out of his shell. Well, Jesse was one of the kids who got this guy out of his shell and really went after him in a friendly way and said, you know, we're going to be friends, sort of a thing. You come with me, let's go roll some dice, which is great. So. So Jesse's dad can't seem to get out of the store quick enough so he can go and play five-side football. So anyway, Jesse is a right laugh. And because he's so polite, I let him use the Astral Blades to take on a few people in large 5-person deathmatch style games of around 750 points. He actually picks up the rules really quickly. He never wins, right? But he always gives people a really bloody nose and he develops a serious liking for the close combat assault Terminators with Thunderhammers and Storm Shields. But this is before I defined the law of the Astral Blades to be exclusive swordsmen, you know what I mean? So, you know, don't run over me for getting the law wrong of my own army. So, as I speak to Jesse and start getting a handle of what he wants from the hobby, I ask him when his birthday is. Now I always do this for younger customers, just so I can get it in my mind's eye. And normally I'd write it down somewhere so I can start like pushing product at the right time. You know what I mean? It's quite cynical, but at the end of the day, I always framed it as these kids are getting what they want because they love Warhammer, and I'm doing my bit to make sure that their parents know exactly what their expectations are and what they're after. Of course, I always talk to the parents to make sure that I don't know too much about their financial situation, but I know what their means are. Do you know what I mean? I've only ever not sold somebody models once, and this was a guy who was struggling to pay his rent, you know, and then came in and dropped like £400 on models, or attempted to. So my relief staff member at the time was ringing him through the till, and I went in there on my day off just to have a chill out and do some painting, and I had to run over and say, no, mate, your money's no good here. Like, you just told me yesterday you couldn't pay your rent, so, have you paid your rent yet? Now, Games Workshop would not have liked that, because it's not my place to jump in and tell people when to spend the money, when not to spend the money. But if you've told me you can't pay your rent the day before, and then I ask you if you've paid your rent, and you say no, and then you go and try and buy £400 worth of models, it's within my rights to say, for your own good, I'm refusing you a sale. I'm not selling you this stuff. You can go elsewhere, but I'm not going to enable you being homeless. That's just not happening, So it's only ever happened once. But I always try and make sure that I know a parent's means, you know what I mean? Without being too creepy and diving in there and, getting to know them that well. But anyway. So he is a little shy about his birthday, is Jessie, and he tells me it's in about 3 weeks, and bear in mind, he's been coming to the store for about 5 or 6 weeks at this point. And he can only get one thing, he's been told, because his mum and dad don't have that much money, which is fair enough, everybody's from different economical backgrounds, it is what it is. But he comes in each Thursday, and there's one of the lads, as I said, who got Alf out of his shell, and this happened a few weeks ago at this point. So this is so Alf, as I'm going to remind you again, was the kid who couldn't speak and had some mental issues and ended up making a load of friends in the store. By the second week of him coming in, and this is Jessie, I start to stockpile Custodes models in the back sent to me from HQ for a store project. Because Jessie in this time has told me that he loves Custodes. Like, he really, really, really wants to start collecting Custodes. And, he's a little chadlet, which is a phrase I used to like to use for kids who are really cool. A bit of a chadlet, cool lad. Wants his Custodes. He liked my Grey Knights. He liked the way the Astral Blades are kind of like the Grey Knights, but he didn't want a copy. He wanted his own thing, and he wanted something that could beat Grey Knights. And I was like, well, Custodes, if you want to stay Space Marines or Space Marine kind of thing, Custodes is your thing. And he just loved the aesthetic of them. He loved everything about them. So before I even found out when his birthday was, I started stockpiling Custodes in the back because I thought I'm going to make a big sale here. So I go to HQ and I say, for a store project, quote unquote, I need, some more Custodes, please. And they don't ever ask questions about the stock that they give you, by the way, because models are literally worthless. They literally are. They're just worthless. They're not worth anything. You decide how much they're worth. So Games Workshop will give you models. I mean, if you've ever asked for a replacement from Games Workshop, what do? Normally they send you a full model to replace one bit that's missing. Do you know what I mean? That's worthless. They don't care. There you go. They want to keep you happy. There you go. So by the second week of him coming in, after he's told me this, I've started to stockpile these models in the back as part of a store project. And DW don't ask questions, and as I said, so I end up with Trajan Valorous, some Alaris Terminators, I think it's 2 or 3 squads of those, and a few squads of the speeder bikes as well, which I really liked, so I did use one of them for my Grey Knights as well. That I plan to give Jessie on his birthday for being such a good sport, because when he tells me he's only going to get one thing, I'm like, well, no, you're getting more than that, in my head. And if any questions are asked by HQ, I'll just buy them on a discount and give them to him, because you're allowed to buy gifts, you know what I mean? So, one day, Jessie's mum comes to pick him up, and she's an attractive lady in her 30s who has a thing for wearing leather jackets. So when I say leather jackets, I mean cool-ass leather jackets. This woman walked into my store with the Commander Shepard N7 leather jacket, and I nearly fainted. I was just like, I'm going to marry this woman, right? Just it's such a cool, awesome jacket, and I needed to know where she got it from. I did get one in the end, but anyway. So she is not shocked or weirded out that I'm giving her kid gifts. And you should always do this, pay your due diligence. I pull her aside as he's finishing up his game, and I show her what I have for him in the back. I explain that it's just stock I can't sell, right? I ripped all the boxes a little when they got to my store, so I can't sell them, right? So he may as well have them. She is very thankful at this point, and asks if she can give her son... if she can give them to her son instead. So she says, you know, listen, thank you so much for this. You know, she was really overjoyed. She just, like, her face lit up, and she said, look, can I give him this stuff instead? You know, so I have some stuff to give him. You know, I'm only going to get him one thing. I can add it to this, and then he's got loads of stuff from me, you know. And I said, sure. And she takes them. So she takes them out the store, and they're now not my problem anymore. They're out the store. So... the big day comes around of his birthday, and, well, his birthday's over the weekend, but it's a Thursday night, so, you know, is what it is. And on the Friday, I'm actually going to be shut, because I've got my annual holiday booked, which is quite nice. So the big day comes around, and in comes Jessie and his mum. And we get another game of the 5-man free-for-all on the go. We get cake from the Harry Potter-style cafe up the road to his specifications. I love that cafe, by the way. It was amazing, but it was responsible for me putting on a lot of weight. And he uses the Astral Blades to beat the snot out of 3 lovely guys from the Royal Navy who kept coming in, and one of our regulars too, who was actually the dad of Alf. He ended up playing in that game as well, whilst a bunch of others looked on. So everyone's having a really good time in the hobby store. Jessie's mum is also really happy that he is getting time to interact and be with friends, right? He doesn't have that many in school, but he's such a lovely lad, and in the store he has mates to talk to. It means a lot to her that he's there, basically. She pulls me aside and says she has wrapped the models I gave her, but she actually just started her first job as a full-time lawyer that month, and her first paycheck just cleared, right? This is a woman with some money and on a mission. She gives me a list of custodies to get to thank me for what I did for Jessie by buying a load of stuff to help towards my sales goal for that month. I ended up getting about £350 worth of stuff from the shelves, and I ring it through for her whilst some other customers block Jessie's view from the table so he can't see what's going on. Which is really cool. So after the game and near closing time, I do call Jessie over, and his mum hands him, I shit you not, a bin bag full of custodies. The lad is crying, right? He's crying in the store. Through grateful tears, not like, he's not terrified. But this isn't something I'm prepared for. Look, I'm from the north, I don't deal well with compliments or emotions. It's just not something I do. So I just awkwardly shake his hand, and I just throw him some clippers, glues, and some Retributor armor spray, if he'll just stop crying. Like, I'm just like, just take some more stuff, just shut up. Stop doing that, it's horrible. Just take this, put it in the bin bag, it's fine. I've known lost it, you know, just get rid of it, it's fine. He laughs, which is great, so he stops crying, and everyone files out for the evening. I'm going for a pint down at the local with a few of the regulars, so I'm made up, right? So, here's where it gets a little bit interesting, and when people are going to call bullshit, and that's fine. Call bullshit, I don't give a fuck. We get outside, and Jessie's mum is getting in the car, and she looks a little out of sorts before waving me over. Looks a bit like, you know, what the fuck. So as she's in the car, I lean down, and she leans out the window and says, look, for fuck's sake, she sighs and starts laughing. She says, did you look at the back of the shopping list? Did you look at the back of it? I was like, no. And I get it out of my pocket and turn it over, and there is a phone number there with her name on it, and her name is Angie. So I apologise and say, look, I was too wrapped up in the night, but I will text you. And she's like, yeah, okay, no problem, no problem. I figured you were dead busy, no problem. And she drives off, right? So, just so you don't think this is complete bullshit, I did go on 3 dates with Angie, but she was a little full-on for me. And she knows this at the time. And before long, I was getting the feeling that she was still into her ex, you know, the five-a-side football guy. So when I met my eventual long-term girlfriend elsewhere, me and Angie just stayed friends, you know. And I think I've mentioned my girlfriend who was at the store before, painting Mortarian. It's another video. Anyway. But we still are friends, and she watches these videos, so thanks, Angie, for letting me tell the story. We did need a happy one, right? We did need a few happy ones. So that is my own story from one of my times at Games Workshop. Next time, I do have a really fun story about the time I left around £700 worth of models that I'd been told to get for my store at a train station in Nottingham. We'll do that next time. But for now, thank you very, very, very much for watching. These are some of the cool things that can go on at a Games Workshop, and do you know what? I know a lot of the people who work at Games Workshop in the head office would have seen me giving away some custodies and be like, wow, that's not really, you shouldn't really be doing that. But then they'll see the £350 worth of models coming through the till and be like, well, you know, maybe there's something there. You know, maybe you've given away some to get to sell more. You know, I don't know. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I love you all a long time. Have a really good day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow for more Hobby Nightmares. We'll be going over some of your stuff. So, see you then. Have a good one.